Hey, everybody. Dr. RJ here, again, coming to you live promoting our Rev Up event, October 21st to 23rd, 2022, with the Colorado Chiropractic Association. And today we have a very special guest for us, one of our speakers this year at Rev Up. Long time chiropractor. He's been in this game for many years, does many great things. It's Dr. Patrick Flynn with the Wellness Way. They just revolutionized healthcare to really make a difference in people's lives. So, Dr. Flynn, I'm so grateful I have you on this call today.
Dr. RJ, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be out at the convention. I was honored when I got the call.
Yeah, it was, we thought about reaching people and making impact, and you were one of the top names that came to that. So if you could just share, a little bit what excites you about coming to Colorado and sharing.
Well, it stems from the simple fact that I believe that chiropractic is the greatest healthcare profession in the world. And I believe that after being in practice for 23 years and now having almost 100 offices across the world and growing, that it's time for chiropractors to really take their place in healthcare, because I was a sick kid and I was diagnosed as a juvenile delinquent when I was young. And what happened is they said, I was just going to have these kind of diagnoses, and they told my parents that I'd probably be in jail sometime. And then, believe it or not, I actually figured out in a nutshell what was going on with me by visiting a chiropractor. And that was great because I saw some great physical changes and some great mental changes, because I suffered massively they probably diagnosed me with Asperger's of today if it was a child. And that led me to actually understand chiropractic and really start to get the difference of it that way. And I was given a Reggie Gold tape when I was a teenager. And so I fell in love with the chiropractic philosophy at a very young age. And then I realized, like, oh my goodness, I definitely want to go to Palmer and actually really understand this deep philosophical aspect of this chiropractic healing profession, because it helped me like crazy. So I got to Palmer. I know it's kind of interesting. I was very disappointed. That it became basically a trauma pain-based school. And I went there in 1996 and I graduated in 1999. But I never gave up understanding, reading the green books and reading, the clinical results that BJ got. And the reason why the chiropractic profession did so well is because, as BJ said, he got sick people well where no one else did. And I never gave up on the understanding of the chiropractic philosophy and the 33 principles, and realized that it's thinking. See, people say there's a philosophy, science, and art to it that way. And the art is going to continue to develop. We're going to observe things by different science things, but the philosophical premises of chiropractic have not changed. And I was kind of realizing that they had it right back then. And what I realized that, once again, when you look at the philosophy, it really talks about how addressing a patient was based on the 3 T's: trauma, toxins, and thoughts. And I recognized, being in school, that everything was geared towards trauma, which I think that with all of our great chiropractic techniques and all the great, wonderful professors and our technique classes, it's essential to be a great person that can adjust and do wonderful things. But it never let go of my heart, even before I got to chiropractic school, realizing that our profession was based on more than that. So even as a student, I started looking at things, and I started to realize that I got to address toxins, I got to address thoughts. And I started to look and say, what if I could prove that from a standpoint of labs? And because I was in school when they were remodeling, and they found some work of BJ Palmer in the elevator that they were remodeling. And I was part of the philosophy club. So we got to scan certain things back when they initially had scanners. And I got to scan in the blood work of the patients. I got to scan in their history. And I got to see all these medical doctors that BJ Palmer hired, and all the chiropractors, actually really seeing that they were assessing the patient very differently than what they were teaching us at school. So what I did is, I'm like, okay. And I started to look into those things. And then I was doing my internship, and all of a sudden what ended up happening was I was in my 10th trimester, and I was visiting a buddy of mine on the east side of Green Bay who's a chiropractor, and this woman walks in, and guess what happened? She was very sick. And it was interesting, the fact I got to know her, and as I got to know her, we started dating a couple weeks into our relationship. She told me that she couldn't have children. And I wasn't even a doctor yet, I was interning, and I met her at the chiropractic office. And she said she can't have children. I'm like, it didn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, knowing the 33 principles and that the body's always trying to function normal. I said, there had to be some stressor. There had to be some trauma, toxin, or thought that was really disrupted. So I said, something is this? I started looking at her labs and realizing that they were on a wrong track. Their testing was incomplete. And people say, Doc, how could you say that? I could say that because understanding the chiropractic philosophy and the function and physiology, that their view of the human body was very incomplete. So I started calling up labs and started calling up things like that that can be done. And guess what? And I'm going to fast forward because I know we got so much time. Well, now 23 layers, I have 4 beautiful daughters. One's going to be entering chiropractic school here in January. And what I end up doing is recognizing, because of the chiropractic thinking, because of chiropractic philosophy, not as science and art, because I believe that there's great things that are out there already in the science that I do is amazing because I'm a very big data person, that we can address any part of the human body, from hormones to cardiovascular to every aspect of the human body, in such a different perspective that we have the clinical answers that nobody else has. And unless you think like a chiropractor, you can't address them. Functional medicine, integrated medicine, medicine itself, they're all the same thinking. And they, even if they try to use some, quote, natural things, their concept and how they approach it was very different. And that's why when I actually got interviewed by Chiropractic Economics, they were talking about, detailed chiropractic principles in modern day technology. Because I said, listen, what if I could actually figure these things out and diagnostically prove it? That just like BJ tried to do back in the early 1900s, of saying, man, what the body can do to heal and repair, and then looking at it so much different. I just started doing that 23 years ago. And it's quite interesting because it's going to sound funny. Do you know that you're the first chiropractic organization to call me as state organization to speak? And the medical field has called me. I've spoken at probably 100 medical seminars in the last 10 years. And it's interesting because I was very surprised that the chiropractic profession hasn't reached out. And so that they reached out by you guys, I was extremely honored. I was extremely honored because that means you are really want to see the clinical results, that if chiropractic care is done right, that we'll be able to share with other chiropractors so they can get the great results, and then chiropractors can get the respect they truly deserve.
Yeah, I mean, that's such an amazing story. I had goosebumps listening to you speaking about that, and the stuff at BJ and the stuff you scanned in. And, it's amazing. And I'm shocked to actually hear that. Like, that's a big time shock that no other state organization has had you out. But, like we always say in Colorado, we're trailblazers and trendsetters. So I'm grateful it's us leading the cause here, right? We'll bring you to the limelight, and hopefully other people in this audience or other speakers hear you and get you speaking to more chiropractors.
So that's the thing is I want people to understand that my talk is going to be elevating the chiropractic profession to the highest clinical excellence there is. And what happens is this. It's going to sound interesting. My love was always just like when my wife was sick, is saying, listen, I know that we have the clinical answers for her. And that's why I've always focused on the public and why the demand in our offices were always so busy. Because you know why? And so now when I come there and speak, by the time I'm done, I believe the chiropractors, what they'll learn and hear, they'll go back and offer a part of care that will elevate them to when there's the sickest people that go, something, I can't get pregnant. I can't get, I got endometriosis. I've got, because obviously the major thing I'm speaking on is actually hormones, because I've got a certain amount of time and I want to train the doctors to a high level so that when they go back to their communities, that they now can offer a part of care that I believe that still falls all within the chiropractic profession and addressing it with things the way BJ did, but just doing it in our modern day technology. So I'm so excited. I'm so honored. And it's going to all be about all of us getting together and really elevating chiropractic to a high level.
That's what we love, man. Rev up, right? Relevance, excellence, and value. And I know you're going to bring a lot of that. So again, we're super excited to have Dr. Patrick Flynn from the Wellness Way joining us in October 21st to 23rd at the Hyatt Aurora. Get your tickets. You don't want to miss out. And I know you're a busy guy. I know you got to go serve. So we'll wrap up here. And just again, from the bottom of our hearts, we say thank you. We're honored to have you, and we look forward to seeing you. And I can't wait to shake your hand and give you a hug, my brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm so excited to be there. See you guys in October.